Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name's Amanda. I'm so glad you're here. Today I'm going to be doing the mid-year freakout tag. So I have seen this tag going around and it looks like so much fun. There are a lot of booktubers that have been doing this for a really long time and they do this tag every year. And so I'm excited to see how mine kind of changes and is different as I go. So let's get started. The first question is, what is the best book you've read this year? And I'm gonna have to go with The Girl in His Shadow by Audrey Blake. I've talked about this book in a past video. It is a historical fiction and it is about Nora, who is living in London, I think the 1840s, and she is trying to practice medicine in an environment where women are not legally recognized as doctors yet. So I absolutely love this book. I enjoyed the storyline. I enjoyed the kind of the stories within the story, the different characters. It just really pulled me in and had me hooked. I think it's a duology, so I can't wait to read the next one in the series. The next question is the best sequel you've read this year. So I'm gonna have to go with Keeper of the Lost Cities. That's a series that I started and I read the second book, Exile. This is a middle grade fantasy series. Basically follows a girl who finds out that she's an elf and she goes to live in the elf world. I love it. I love the main character and I love all of the other kids that are kind of already in that world that befriend her and kind of help her along. I think it's a great series so far and I'm really looking forward to continuing it. The next question on the list is a new release that you haven't read yet but want to. And I'm gonna go with The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett. I heard about this on the Currently Reading podcast. It is a fantasy mystery. That sounds like a really good combination to me, and the way that they talked about this book on that podcast, I cannot wait to read it. It looks really, really good, and I trust the recommendations of the ladies on that podcast. The next one is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year. And for this one, I am going to go with another recommendation from Currently Reading. I'm going to go with The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. And I won't have to wait long because it comes out in July. It is a thriller, and the description says, an immersive, propulsive novel about a missing child whose disappearance sends equal shockwaves through three very different worlds. An opulent Adirondack summer estate, the rustic teen summer camp that operates in its shadow, and the blue-collar community that serves them both. I really like a good thriller. I actually went to a summer camp in the Adirondacks as a kid, so I'm interested to read a book in that setting. The next one is your biggest disappointment so far this year, and this is kind of a hard one. For this one, I went with Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. This book I felt like was really hyped up. I was really looking forward to reading it. I had people at church telling me I should read it. I saw a lot of people online that really liked it. So I guess maybe I had really high expectations for it, and it just didn't live up to that for me. Maybe it was the audio version that I listened to, but I couldn't focus on it. I didn't care a lot about the characters. Listen, if you have a different opinion, let me know, because maybe I should read a physical copy. Maybe that would change it. Or maybe it was just the season that I was in when I read it. Maybe I just couldn't focus. All right, the next question is your biggest surprise. And I had a hard time choosing between two. So I was choosing between The Violin Conspiracy and Demon Copperhead. The Violin Conspiracy by Brendan Slocum is about a man who plays the violin. He's a classical musician, and it's a mystery, but I don't really know that much about classical music, and so I thought that it wouldn't be that intriguing to me, but I really loved it. It's set in North Carolina, which I live in North Carolina, so that was interesting to me, and you really don't have to know anything about classical music to enjoy this book. I really love the main character, Ray, and I thought it was a great story. I didn't really see the ending coming. It was a good mystery. The other one is Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. I didn't know anything about this book when I went into reading it. I just kind of saw it everywhere and I thought, well, I'll give it a try. I really love this book. It is, I listened to it on audio and the narrator was fantastic. It's written from like the main character's voice and point of view, and so the narrator was so believable to be that boy's voice, that young man's voice. It has a lot about foster care and addiction in the United States, and I thought it was so good. I found myself rooting for this character and just wanting to see him do well. I just really love his path that he goes through. Yeah, I definitely want to read more by this author. The next question is your favorite new author. So I'm going with Mickey Brammer, who wrote The Collected Regrets of Clover. I am really hoping that she will write more books for me to read. I loved this book. I love Clover, her character. She is a death doula. I found that fascinating. I've never really heard of that before, but I think it was really, really cool to learn about that. I think I saw a lot of myself in Clover, and maybe that's why I really loved her. I love the trajectory of her story and how she learns about herself in the process. I think it's really good. Like I said, I hope that Mickey Brammer will write more like it for me to read. The next one is Newest Fictional Crush. And I don't think I really crush on fictional characters. I think there's one guy I have a crush on, and I'm married to him. So that might be lame, but that's my answer. So I kind of took a little different take on this and decided to go with my favorite fictional relationship. I chose Stella and Michael from The Kiss Quotient. I think their relationship is just the sweetest. I love the way that they grow and change and get to know each other and trust each other. I just really love them, and I think they're a great example of a couple with at least one neurodivergent person in the mix. Okay, the next one is your newest favorite character. I love Nora Beatty from The Girl in His Shadow. I have talked about her in another video. I just think she is so badass. Like, she is living in a time where she is not supposed to be doing what she's doing. She is not supposed to be working alongside a surgeon, let alone practicing and actually getting her hands in there and taking care of patients. So I just love that she is so brave and strong and not willing to sacrifice her patients for some ridiculous rule or the fact that she might get in trouble. She's a great example of a female character that is strong and smart, but also has a softer side and has emotions and can show them, and I just love her. If I could know her in real life, I just know we would be friends. Alright, y'all, the next one is Book That Made You Cry, and I just finished this book on audio, Lily and the Octopus. Yeah, this is about a man and his dog, Lily, who is a 12-year-old dachshund. They are super close, and if you have ever loved a dog for their whole life, you will cry reading this book. You will cry. This one got me. I think this is the first book that I have ever cried reading. The next one is to choose a book that made you happy. So I'm going with The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. I love this book. I love the setting in like a retirement village. I love that the characters are mostly all elderly. Those are some of my favorite people. And I just was completely absorbed in the mystery, but also the relationships between the characters, the friendships, the romances. It's such a cool thing to see a different time of life represented in a mystery, and it was so fun to read. If you haven't read it, you have to try it. It's so good. The next one is, what is the most beautiful book you have received or bought this year? And I don't really buy a lot of books. I use the library and Libby and those kinds of things more often than I will buy them. But I do occasionally buy a few books, and I bought this one for my birthday, The Last Quintessa. I think that this book cover is really pretty. I love the kind of purple and blue and orange combination. This is a beautiful cover, so I definitely had heard good things about it, but the cover really does draw you in, and I think it's really, really pretty. Okay, the last one is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? So all of them. But I did pick a few that I have had on my list or have recently caught my eye and are ones that I have to read it this year. The first one is The Surgeon's Daughter by Audrey Blake. That is the next book after The Girl in His Shadow, and I believe that continues the story of Nora, so she's my favorite character. I cannot wait to read that book and learn more about her and see where she goes in the next book. The other two are fantasy. The first one is Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. I have wanted to read something by Brandon Sanderson for most of this year, and this is the one I'm going to start with. I cannot wait to get into this book. This is another book that I purchased. It's also a very pretty cover. I just have to get into some Brandon Sanderson. There's a lot to choose from. He's written a lot of books, but this is where I'm going to start, and I can't wait to get into it. And then the last one is Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. This will be the first book that I have read by this author, and this is a fantasy. I heard about this from Book Mama. I think she had a video, I'll try to link it, but a video about fantasy, kind of where to start with fantasy. And I'm trying to get more fantasy into my reading list. So this one caught my attention. So it says, Ketterdam, a bustling hub of international trade where anything can be had for the right price. And no one knows that better than criminal prodigy Kaz Brecker. Kaz is offered a chance at a deadly heist that could make him rich beyond his wildest dreams, but he can't pull it off alone. I am excited to read this. I've heard really good things, and I like that it is considered kind of like beginner fantasy, because I still am trying to kind of find my footing in that genre. So I also think it's a series, and that's great, because if I like it, then I immediately have more to read. Okay, so that is the mid-year freak out tag. I am excited to see all of the different booktubers that choose to do this tag and see what their answers are. My favorite prompt was to tell about your favorite character, so I would love to hear in the comments if you have a favorite character from any of the books you've read this year. So if you are enjoying this video, I would love it if you would hit that like and subscribe button. That really would help me out and keep you up to date on all the great books that I'm reading this year. So now for the kindness moment. I found a quote by Anne Frank that says, you can always give something, even if it is only kindness. I think even when we feel like we have nothing else to give, you know, as a mom, there are a lot of times where I just don't feel like I have anything left in the tank, energy wise, compassion wise, patience wise. This is a good reminder for me that even when I don't have those things to give, I can always give kindness. Hopefully that will make up for where I lack in other areas. So on that note, go out there and be kind to someone today, y'all.